All right, time for the Pick Six. We'll start with the 49ers and Chiefs. It was that Super Bowl rematch, and it went the same exact way. It didn't play out necessarily the same way, but the Chiefs got the win, and it has now become the graphic of the podcast when we show Kyle Shanahan and what he has done against some of those more creative.
It's defamation on my friend, really.
There's a style of defensive coordinator out there right now that is giving Kyle Shanahan and that offense trouble. Steve Spagnuolo is, of course, on that list. Here it is. Here's the graph. Kyle, look at that picture. That is exactly how he would look after showing this for like the third or fourth time.
I don't want to deal with these guys. Now, listen, there's some things that we could talk about as you leave this up here. I mean, of course, some of these teams he played and all that, I mean, they're really good football teams, right? It's not like the Chiefs are like, oh, he's just got some problem with the Chiefs on this coordinator. It's like, no, they're awesome. They got awesome coaching. They got awesome players to go along with that. I think you look at some of those, too, in 2020. The 49ers weren't very good in 2020. That was the year after they lost the Super Bowl to the Chiefs. That's where Bosa got hurt, Garoppolo got hurt. Yeah. So they lost some of those games. And again, definitely good teams there. We know that too. And then the last 2 years to Brian Flores and Jim Schwartz, we know the Cleveland defense last year was as good as it gets. And of course, Minnesota's defense has given everybody problems this year as well. So, there's a lot to be said there about that. But we're just so used to Shanahan having his way with just about everybody. And I think the whole league knows that. Listen, I talk to D coordinators all the time. They're always like, man, we're getting ready to play your buddy. Oh my gosh, is he good? Does he have everything? Holy cow. Does he know how to, expose people and do that? And these are just three guys that are worthy of the mental challenge that Shanahan presents, and they definitely have given him some problems.
So you went deep dive.
Yeah.
You looked at the film from this game, and we have multiple screenshots on things that Kansas City did to make life difficult for Kyle Shanahan.
That's
and this,
right.
Albeit depleted 49ers offense, but still there were some opportunities out there that they could not cash in on. Let's start with some of the formations, because we've always said this about the 49ers. They do things that put the defense in a bind. Some of their condensed formations are tough to guard. You don't know which receivers breaking which way, and then they can run off of that.
They can cross people. They use them in the running game, right? Yes. So just think about it. You mean two receivers tight. It's hard to play bump and run, right? So there they are. And now they could, have different releases coming off the line of scrimmage. So that's why offensive coordinators love those tight splits, bringing them in here, get them stacked. And then, oh, wait, we want to run on the edge. All you got to do is step down and kind of seal the defense end. And now we're outside and doing that. Oh, when we want to run our little fake the run up the middle and the receiver's a little tighter, right? That puts the linebacker in a bind because he's like, oh, no, I got to step up to the run. And then it's Deebo Samuel's behind me, right? So that's what they do to people with those condensed sets. And there's a lot of beauty to it. But again, they met a team and a guy here that understands how to defend it and has the Jimmies and the Joes to defend it as well.
So let's look at some of that, how the Chiefs were able to neutralize some of those condensed formations. We'll start with this one. This one was 10 minutes into the game, first quarter, about 5 minutes to go. It was a 2nd and 1.
Right.
And it was a handoff to Jordan Mason.
So let me just make a blanket statement right about this first off, right? The first thing that jumps out to you when you watch these games with the Chiefs and the 49ers is that the Spags and the Chiefs show no fear of the 49ers pass game. I think I have to state that first, okay? They crowd the line of scrimmage. There's 6 guys on the line of scrimmage, 8, 9 guys in the box almost always. Even here, this is probably a little deeper than normal. If you looked at the first play of the game, like the safeties are always about 8 or 9 yards deep. They don't get very deep. They basically go ahead. We don't want you to run it. Throw it. We want you to throw it. Please do it, right? And that's their first advantage. But then you get into, what are they got those people in the box. They stop the run, and it doesn't allow for the play-action pass over the middle, right? They've understood that. We've talked about that a lot with the 49ers offense over the year. So here's your perfect situation. This is a 2nd and 1, and it's in the first quarter, right? I think it's the second drive of the game. Might be the third drive. I can't remember exactly. But you can see here, it's nothing like crazy with the set as it looks right here. Right, it looks pretty basic. It looks like they're actually playing to hey, they might run a play-action pass here and go deep here, so let's not be too crazy, right? But they bring in Ayuk. You can see he's condensed on the top of the screen, and what that does, and the Chiefs more times than not are extremely aggressive in attacking the line of scrimmage. So it's 2nd and 2. They're kind of giving the look of hey, you're not going to throw a play-action pass on us, and that probably, if they have 2 plays called in the huddle, Purdy's going to go, I don't have the play-action pass, so let me run the ball here. But now they're going to run the ball to the left side. Let's go to the next screenshot. Look what happens here. Look at the people that have all of a sudden only the 2 safeties are back deep, and the other 9 guys are all at the line of scrimmage, right? The ball's just been snapped, and if we could go back to the last shot one more time for me, Pete, just so I can explain this to people who are watching on YouTube, you'll see, I mean, again, the linebackers play coming downhill, right? But McDuffie, who's over the top of Ayuk right there in a man-to-man situation, right? With the condensed set, I bet you they have an automatic call. Hey, if they do this, you come off the edge, right? So now they can protect the edge that way, and then they can totally cloud the middle or just mosh pit the middle with the other 8 guys they got down there in the box, right? To take away the inside running game and really give no lane. So let's go back to the next screenshot. And again, you can see the backside corner. He comes down aggressively. Look at the push that the Chiefs D-line got, right? On the left side there, Ahmed, you could see it. I mean, the left guard, the center, they're 3 yards back, 2 yards back in the backfield. So they get dominated physically, and now also chaos is created by McDuffie blitzing, because there's Juszczyk who's looking to block the D end or somebody like that, and now Juszczyk 44, he's barely got off the ball, and McDuffie's in his lap, so it's like the whole play is screwed, right? We didn't even get to form our blocks because they got up on us with so many people and the surprise blitz off the edge that we really never even got a chance to get this play going, and that ended up being a no-yard gain or maybe even a little bit of a loss on that play.
Let's name check some of those guys that popped to you, some of the Robin Hoods, maybe some of the unsung heroes, because you mentioned McDuffie, and I think that's a name that a lot of people know.
Yeah, everybody knows that one.
Linebacker Leo Chenal.
Leo Chenal, number 54. I watch him when the Chiefs play. He's rare bird in what he does on the defensive side of the ball. He can play thumper football, which is like that stuff right there. 2nd and 2, don't worry, I can take it, coach, between the tackles and bring the fullback, I'll take him on. And then he can also, hey, it's 3rd down and they're going to throw the ball. He can run as good as anybody in the game. He's really good in both areas, but shows up a lot on tape. Yeah, the other guys, sorry.
And the defensive lineman, too, Felix Anudike Uzama.
Their first-round pick from 2 years ago from Kansas State. He really is playing well. Now, pass rush, right? It's not like it pops all the time, but you see it. I'm really impressed with them in the run defense. I mean, he really shows up a lot in that area. And then their big D tackle, number 69, Mike Pennell, who, they got off the street, I think, halfway through the year last year, and now he starts with them, and he's a physical force in the middle of their defense. So they got something going, let alone me not even naming all-pro type-ish Nick Bolton or all-pro Chris Jones and Karlaftis, who we know is good. They have so much depth and versatility on their D-line. It's one of the most impressive things about their football team.
So you want to show those guys dominating again on the very next play?
Let's show the next play,
sure.
Yeah. Because, again, look at this, right? I mean, it's 3rd and 1. They're going, wait, we're not going to let you run it. There's 4 guys on each side of the center within a yard of the ball, right? They got 9 guys within 3 yards of the line of scrimmage. And go ahead, go to the next shot, but it just shows you, look, it's impossible to run the ball against that look with this kind of football team. It really is. And again, I think it's one where we talk about it a little bit. When you play them in these type of situations, you got to attack them back. A little bit like we've talked about, good defenses got to start attacking these good offenses when they do all this crazy stuff. Well, here's an example of when you're playing a team that's a top 10 defense and you think you're just going to run up the middle on a big down and everybody thinks you're going to run up the middle, no, you're not. And especially like defenses like that where not only are they good physically, but like you said, Spags is not afraid to push the chips in the middle of the pile and go, we're going to really stop the run. We're going to bring people. We're just going to create chaos. And I do think you got to attack back with some of those big play action passes that I talk about sometimes if they're going to gamble like that and play that kind of defense.
And in the passing game, you notice that defensive line did a good job of getting their hands up at the line of scrimmage.
They always do. They understand. When you prepare for a team twice in the Super Bowl, you know them better than anything on the planet, right? It's 2 weeks of the most intense preparation ever. So they are take away the middle of the field, take away the run game. Let's have some good run blitzes. And hey, Shanahan and the 49ers like to throw the ball quick over the middle. So they've had Chris Jones Jones has had, so many times over the last 4 years of 49er football, and, oh, man, he gets the ball out of his hands quick. I'm not going to get there. Oh, yeah, I got to get my hands up and clog the lane a little bit, and they do great. So it's all the little things they do on top of it, let alone, like we said, talent and coaching is top-notch.
All right, so take away the run, and then you can make life difficult in the passing game as well. You noted here that they had no fear of playing man-to-man against the 49ers.
And I mean, they really don't fear anybody, but the 49ers, as we know, going back to the Super Bowl last year and how we broke that game down, they are not good against teams that can play really good man-to-man.
So even with Debo,
they struggle with it. So then you don't have them. It's double trouble, slugger. It's an issue there. And then again, it gets into Shanahan and the 49ers, they want to play action and maybe keep a tight end in because, hey, it's the Chiefs, they're aggressive. But it's also because of all this time playing together, Spags has got a really good feel of their route combinations and certain things too. So it's like, this guy's running the post, and now the guy behind him is either going to run out or in, and they got a guy for both. They're like, we got a guy outside waiting for you, and if you go inside, we got a guy waiting for you there too, right? So great understanding of how the 49ers want to attack, and they certainly had some pass plays where they were all over it.
Yeah, so was life just very, very difficult for Brock Purdy in this game with those aforementioned injuries already? With what Spags did, with the talent they have in the defensive secondary, or were there some missed opportunities?
He was up against it.
Yeah.
We've talked about before, against good teams, I'm not sure the 49ers passing game can stand on its own all the time, right? Against the upper elite teams in football, right? You've heard me say if there's one thing I wish Shanahan was better at this, it would be the drop back pass game. I wish it had a little more to it, right? And Purdy is not the kind of guy that we have said in the past that's just going to carry your team, I think, against the really good defenses of football, or yet he's yet to do that at least. Maybe he'll prove me wrong. He's been playing great this year, but this was not his best game. He did not see the field well. He seemed like he was a little flustered sometimes with where to go with the ball or even in the pocket for sure. And then you encompass the fact that, you're missing your best receivers. You drop back a few times and people were all covered everywhere. And you had some people around you and your clock is all messed up because you're like, I don't know, they're coming, they're blitzing. Every time I drop back, there's like 8 guys at the line of scrimmage, right? That I do think affected him. And he did not play his best football. His interceptions were bad.
Yeah, all three of them?
All three of them. I thought the third one in the end zone wasn't bad, right, because he got hit as he was throwing. But if he didn't get hit and he got to throw the ball clean, guess what? He was going to throw an interception anyways. He was going to throw the ball to double coverage. I don't know where he was going with that ball. But, yes, all three are bad. The second one with over the top of the guy's head on the out route, you can't miss that. And then the bootleg where Justin Reed gets it, I don't know what he was looking at. It's rare that the safety is down there like that. Justin Reed made a really good football play, but still, you should see throws. And, it was not his best day, let alone he left some yards on the field and what I would say maybe points along with that.
Some of their biggest plays, though, were defensive pass interference. They did get some of those.
And that pissed me off. And you can see that by my notes. Because some of the pass interference calls in this game, and we're going to do something on social after because I want to show these plays. It's a joke. I sometimes I'm like, I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, here, we got some photos here too. Sometimes I'm just like, do referees in the world know what pass interference is right now? Because, again, I spoke to how they had good feel for where the 49ers were going, right? Here's 2 big plays where they know where Kittle's going. Reed is waiting for him to break outside. He knows it's coming. George Kittle runs into him, extends his hands, and pushes him, and they call it on Justin Reed, right? So that was a big pass interference in the game that extended the drive, right? And again, I'm a quarterback. I like offense. I get that. But the defense is at such a disadvantage, it's ridiculous. Now, here's another play backed up. He wants to throw an in-cut to Brandon Ayuk. McDuffie knows. They've got a good feel for what's going on here. So he's playing inside leverage, right? And he's going like, if you want to break out somebody, here he goes. Now Ayuk wants to go inside, and McDuffie's there. I mean, McDuffie is allowed to be on earth, everybody. He's allowed to live. He's allowed to be there. Just because the receiver wants to go there doesn't mean he has the right to just run him over. But then they call pass interference on McDuffie. That's what I love. I mean, contact initiated by the offense both times. Defense won the play. First down, reward the offense for not being more creative and having a stupid throw, and they can't get open. First down. I mean, it's ridiculous. So that bothers me. It really does.
Sometimes in those jump ball situations too, where the receiver gets credited for playing defensive back, they just maul the defensive back.
They maul the guy, and there's never a pass interference call. And
the
NFL needs to fix that. It's ridiculous. The defense has it hard enough with all these rules right now. To have plays where they play things perfectly and get penalized for it, somebody needs to teach the referees football. That's all I could really say. Or the people that are teaching the referees, because that was, if anything, offensive pass interference both times, or a no call. But don't penalize the defense for running it perfectly. That's fucked up, as they say.
So before you watch the film of this one,
yes,
as they do say that, as you say multiple times on the podcast,
right,
to Christian chagrin,
chagrin, right, chagrin.
One of those,
yes.
Chagrin. Add that to the list. All right, so before the game, before you looked at the deep dive, you're like, all right, the Chiefs are good. Their defense is pretty good.
You know that.
49ers are going to struggle, especially with the talent that they don't have playing for them right now.
Right.
So after watching the film, what changed for you, or did it just reinforce what you believed?
Well, I think it just reinforced what I believe. The 49ers are still really good on offense. Purdy did not play his best, and they played a defense that knows how to play them and matched up really well. Their defense of the Chiefs is, I think, ranked 10th in football in yards allowed right now. They're better than that. I mean, they played some good teams early in the year, and I don't think we're totally settled in on that way as well. But yeah, I mean, they understand how to blitz Shanahan. They understand how to cover him. They can stop the run. As we always talk about, they never get the credit for their physicality and what they do there. One thing we never see in these games, and I wrote that too, the Shanahan specials. You don't see one screen break for a big pass. You don't see any reverses, speed sweeps, screen out in the edge to Debo when he runs for 50 yards. None of that happens, right? Trick play where Kittle sneaks out the backside of the formation and he's open for a 50-yard gain. None of that ever happens against the Chiefs. That's where they really – and then I think the other thing too is – they got to take advantage of all that's there to be had when there's a chance to do that, right? And I think, do we have the two screenshots of like the people open downfield? Okay, we didn't do that. But there was on the last interception.
It's like the doctor. The body's dead, sir. The body is dead.
The last interception, they come away with no points in the red zone, the one we talked about where he got hit as he was throwing, but he's going to throw an interception anyways.
Yeah.
They ran a play on that drive where it was a double move down the right sideline. I can't remember. It was Cowing, number 19, okay? Double move, little like stutter go, should be a walk-in touchdown, okay? Walk-in. It should be walk-in touchdown. It's 21-19 or 21-20. Let's keep playing football, right? Instead, the ball is egregiously underthrown. The guy has to stop. The defender catches up, and they tackle him at the 5-yard line, right? And then 2 plays later, what happens? Interception, no points. So when you hear me talk about like stuff like that, right, all you listeners out there, again, like Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, I don't think that ball's going to be behind. I think it's going to walk in and be a touchdown in those moments. And those things get undervalued. Probably got a plus on PFF. I get that. But it should maybe only be 1+, because it should be like, hey, this should be a walk-in touchdown. You got the completion. We like all that. But there should have been more here, right?
Yeah.
And you can't do that against these type of football teams. And that's where we're seeing, like, hey, you only get a few chances every game to make those type of plays. And this has kind of been our theme of the year, right? The good teams are making those plays. The good quarterbacks are making those plays. Their stats might not be wow, but it's like Kansas City of the Chiefs. You know, I mean, Mahomes gets 3 opportunities a game to do that every game, and I feel like it's like 3 for 3 for a touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Or it's like 2 for 3, and that third one didn't go for a touchdown, but it changed field position of the game, whatever it may be. And they definitely left some spots there.
We should make that stat. That should be like your stat.
Well, I mean, the play, and then
yards left on field.
Yeah, yards left on field.
OF.
Yeah, something like that. Or I can come up with maybe a more creative saying, like the play stat for defense, and maybe I can say, you the play stat on this one.
Yeah, like self-inflicted and then you inflicted. Yeah,
exactly.
So the 49ers got the Dallas Cowboys Sunday Night Football. We'll have that game. Can Mike Zimmer emulate what Spags did? Now, you mentioned it already. It's not just the defensive coordinator. You have to have the talent there. Micah Parsons, will he play in this game?
He's probably getting close, but I haven't heard anything as far as definitive there. Yeah. No, I'm not sure.
Game
that'll be a good one.
Both teams could use a win. Yeah.
Desperate. And I do think the 49ers are a better football team. I would expect them to win, and I'll just tell you that right now.
Chiefs at Las Vegas. So that'll be difficult. Good luck, Gardner Minshew. Pete writes here in the...
Yep. Yo, homies. Thanks for watching. Yeah, it's time. The NFL season is here on Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
You can hit subscribe to get all the weekly picks, plus our Sunday recaps as the games are happening.
Oh, you know it. Nobody does that better than us. Thanks again for watching. Remember to subscribe. Peace out. We'll see you next time on Unbuttoned.